Calling the Gladstone City Commission for October 12th in order. Got invocation and pledge of allegiance, and I'll lead that in it. God of all creation, we come before you today to give you honor and praise. You are worthy of praise. You are the source of all that is good. You are the source of all blessings. Thank you for every gift that we have been giving. We thank you for the opportunity to come and gather today. We ask that your hand of blessing on this meeting. We ask that you would guide and direct our meeting so that it is wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. Thank you for helping us to accomplish our work and goals. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call.
Mayor Bostwick,
Here.
Commissioner Gay,
He's excused.
Commissioner Nemechek,
Here.
Commissioner Thompson,
Here.
Commissioner View,
Here.
All right. First up is public comment.
Michael O'Connor, 526 Minnesota Avenue. I see on the agenda we're going to be looking at cellular phones, and I wanted to basically make a proposal. I would be happy to buy all the staff in the city a smartphone, or not a smartphone, but a track phone, and pay for that for one full year for whatever service they need. To get that expense off the books. That's all I have for that item.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, next up, were you going to talk about conflict of
I
interest?
have a possible conflict of interest. My daughter's on the list of election workers.
Well, I don't think it's an issue. Does anyone else saying your name's not on the ballot? Dave?
I don't think it's an issue at all.
Do you, Steve?
No, to me, it's not an issue.
Okay. Do we have to vote on it or anything? Or?
I can put it in the record that you did not have a conflict with his conflict of interest. However, we want to say that, and that he is eligible to vote on that item. So,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, next up is a consent agenda. The City Commission from September 28th, the Parks and Rec from September 1st, the EDC September 22nd, and payment of bills.
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Support.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Thompson and support by Commissioner Nemechek for the consent agenda. Any more discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up is new business presentation by Mr. John Stapleton, Director of Delta Area Transit Authority.
Thank you. Just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of update. I'm not looking for a endorsement of any kind for the election, but nothing else. Want to be able to answer some questions, be able to, clear some things up sometimes. Been a director with DATA since 2012. Came on, they were on some rough times financially. When I came on board, they had about 90 days of cash, and it was, I offered my services at the time. I was employed solely by Schoolcraft County as their transit director. I offered to help them out till they found a director. Needless to say, they wouldn't let me go. And so we have a shared agreement with Schoolcraft County for me to share my time between the two systems. It was probably the best alternative for DATA to share some cost for director services, and Schoolcraft County to retain a director at the same time. So I spend my time back and forth, generally every other day. Sometimes it's half in one location, half in the other. A little bit on DATA. Started in 1989. It is a standalone governmental authority. Has a board with one of the representatives being representing the city of Gladstone. Those representatives on the board are appointed by the county board. Your representative is Dave Fredrickson, if you're not aware. Dave's been on for several years. I can't tell you how long exactly, but he's been on quite a while. Data currently has 17 vehicles. On any given day, all 17 aren't going to be out there. You're going to see probably a maximum of 15 out. The reason why there's more than that is you need to be able to do maintenance on them. You need to have, some spares for that. With anybody that knows any of the newer emissions on the diesels, we probably could have about 10 spares right now, because it's problematic to keep the newer ones out of the shop, so to speak. Our oldest bus is a 1997. It's got 350,000 miles. Hopefully that is going to be replaced sometime in the next couple months. We've been waiting about 8 months for that replacement. We currently have a total about 25 employees. The majority of them are part-time, and we have, I think we have 8 full-time staff right now. To give you an idea how many rides we're doing, Gladstone is approximately 20% of the rides we do. We do 115,000 a year roughly right now, and that's reduced some from previous years. We had to live within our means and live within our budget, which meant cutting back some service. The unfortunate part is with the county this large, we're only our local funding only comes from, at least as far as millages go, only come from Gladstone and Escanaba. Unfortunately, that puts a big burden on the two cities to operate that. And so that's one of the reasons why you don't see us go to Rapid River more than a couple times a day. You don't see us in the Bark River areas or some of those, not in the Garden Peninsula, not in the Stonington Peninsula, because it's not that there isn't need, it just isn't the local support to do that, or the local match. It requires us to come up with about 50% local funding to operate the system. That comes from fares that people pay to ride, comes from contracts with local agencies like Lake States, Pathways, etc., school districts. It comes from the source of millages, and it can come from donations and pieces like that. So without a millage, we would be faced with trying to operate our local match either with increased fares or with fundraising, like the animal shelter does, pieces like that, doing some local fundraising, bake sales. We would be forced to go to the local units of government, asking for appropriations. I think we all know in today's budget, that's virtually impossible right now to ask for that, and we don't expect that either. So all transit systems in the state are required to come up with their local funding source. My personal feeling is it's a way for the state and federal government to show that there's enough support to invest in our area. So it makes it a little bit interesting. The maximum amount of time I can go out on a millage is 5 years, so we're asking for a 5-year renewal. Our current millage goes back almost to conception, when it was asked for a countywide, and the countywide was turned down. They came back and asked the cities actually for a millage support. At one time we had Maple Ridge and Rock. A year or so back, we asked Wells Township and Escanaba Township. Wells Township, there are 5,000 people there, voted that down by about 40 votes. Escanaba Township approved it. So Escanaba Township has been ramping up quite a bit for service-wise. The unfortunate part is with the bridge out this year, with part of it, we have to come all the way around the back way to get to some of them folks that are going to the college and other places. As far as Gladstone rides, we're seeing about 20%, or roughly about 20,000 rides a year come out of here. That doesn't count the people that live in Escanaba that come to Gladstone for medical appointments, visit family and relatives. That's just people that live here. I didn't count all the trips in and out. I counted just the people that lived here. Lakeview Assisted Living is about 2,000 rides a year itself, back and forth to there. And something for you to keep in mind is, the average person that lives in a group home or assisted living home generally has about $40 cash per month that they are able to keep or receive. That has to take care of their, recreation, their hair cutting, and those type of things. So it really doesn't give them much of a transportation budget. So that's a little fact there. Another fact for you is that the average person lives their driving by 7 to 10 years. And that's a figure from AAA. I know myself, I'm not prepared for what I plan to do when I can't drive, but I don't think any of us really think about that. But frankly, I think we all know somebody, friend, family member, relative that uses public transportation in one sort or another, whether we want to or not. Some people choose to, other people don't have a choice. And so there's a couple little pieces for you there. Why are our, a couple questions are, why are our buses as big as they are? Our biggest bus, we have one bus, that happens to be our oldest one, it's a 29 passenger. The rest of them are generally a 21 down to a 15 passenger size. The reason why they look larger is because when you put a wheelchair lift in them and you take out the seats to accommodate the wheelchair lift in the securement locations for them, you take out a bulk of seats in them. The unfortunate part is what we run basically over here is we run a route deviation, which means we do pick people up door to door, and we run on a route with a schedule on it, so to speak. The maximum amount of people we can get on that isn't just what we can fit on the bus, it's how much time do we have to go up the hill and down the hill again to get people where they want to go. In any given hour, that just depends on how many there are and what type of limitations they are. It could take us 5 or 10 minutes to load up a scooter where somebody else might be able to get on in 30 seconds. And that counts when you're going traveling some distance as well. The interesting part about that, taking people dialysis in pieces like that is some of those rides can be a 5-minute ride, and you could have one individual that has some mobility limitations, and that can be a half-hour ride with one person. And so to kind of answer a couple of those questions, that's one of the reasons why we run the bus sizes we do. Generally about 9 in the morning we see a peak of people coming in, going to college and going to work sites. We'll fill up those buses in the morning hours. In the afternoon about 2 we see those buses full again from about 2 to 4 going back. So they're not always full, but they're not always empty. I'd probably consider it like the highways are. At times they're full and other times they're empty. There's nobody on them. And when we go back to our facility, whether they're going back for lunch, they're empty. When they're coming out from lunch, they're empty. When they go to get fuel, they're empty. When they're coming back from fuel, they're empty because we don't have fuel with people on the buses. So, my plan is to downsize on some bus size, on numbers of passengers on them. I think we can have a couple bigger ones, some smaller ones, and some mid-sized ones, and probably get a better job done on them. I'm also looking at adding a few minivans just for the in-town type of trips that are the quick one that's going, to the senior center or to Walmart or some of those places. Probably another fact for you is that Walmart is the biggest destination in Delta County right now. That's one of the reasons why we use that as a hub for 3 of our shuttles. We have a shuttle in Escanaba. We have one that runs back and forth to Gladstone, Escanaba every hour. And we have a college one that handles the college area and the outskirts. They all meet at Walmart once an hour to shuttle people back and forth between the routes. It works pretty well for us. The downside is Walmart's a busy location. There's a lot of people around there, and unfortunately then it looks like that we have 3 buses there for no reason. Why are they just parked at Walmart at the time? And so I think there's a few pieces in there for you. If there's any questions you might have, I'd be happy to answer them now or after the meeting, but I just kind of wanted to give you an update on why the millage, why it's that way. But public transit systems in Michigan were designed to have a public millage or a local millage from conception. Anybody that thought that it could be done without was either misled or interpreted something wrong, because unless we raised fares to 3 to 5 times the rate they are now, it just wouldn't happen.
You said the only government bodies that have a millage are cities Escanaba, Gladstone, and Escanaba Township?
Correct.
Why didn't you try to get the full county this time rather than just the cities?
Well, that's one of the goals. One of the difficult things with Delta County, definitely one of our biggest assets, I think, is the shoreline here. One of the detriments, I believe, and just I guess to inform you a little bit, I live in the Garden Peninsula. I do live south of Garden, so I'm very familiar with the area. But it's also very difficult in some of our peninsulas or some of our outskirts from Escanaba to gain countywide support. Now, what I would propose we do in a couple years is try to get county support. What that would do, hopefully, then, is lower the rate for Gladstone and Escanaba residents. If you can put that out through, 38,000 people rather than what we have in the 2 cities, I think that makes a big help. Right now, the unfortunate part is the people that are living out of the areas aren't getting a ride. The people that are in are paying for the bulk of the service, right? So, is it fair? Absolutely not. Wells Township, there's 5,000 people that are living in that township. There is not a millage there, and they're still a chunk of our rides, and those people want service. and we run in and out of there all day long as we go back and forth. So do we turn them down? No, but they pay a little bit higher fare, and some of their people just, let's face it, they're the last to get a ride because the priority goes to Escanaba and Gladstone residents. So that would be a goal of mine, to see a countywide. I think it's important to probably get a couple more townships first before we try to bite off that. At this point in time, the most important part here for us would be to look for a renewal so that we could continue to operate and then look at a countywide.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The only comment I would have is I think the service, the way you explained it, is well needed in the area. I think the people, we have no other way to transport some of these wheelchairs, individuals that don't drive, those that have seeing impaired. But on top of that, how much of every dollar is subsidized per ride? Do you know?
About 55% of our costs is subsidized with state and federal money. The rest of that would come from local sources. So about 55% of that is. An interesting figure is a taxi ride is about $12 to $14 a taxi ride to Escanaba from here. So if you were just going to go to, say, OSF, and you had, even at $12, you had $24 round trip. For most families, not all families, but for most families, that's something that's unaffordable, especially somebody that already doesn't own a car. And so it's difficult for them to make that choice, and we see those people that ride quite a bit. Is Data Bus reasonable? Absolutely. Maybe it's too reasonable, but we're at a couple dollars for that trip to go to Escanaba. And so we're seeing a lot of people that are going to work, a lot of people that are going for medical rides, and the argument would be, just charge more per rider and not have a local millage. But what happens generally then is when you raise the rates that extreme, you lose the riders, which means you have to raise the rates again, you lose some more riders.
Do you work with the taxi services?
We do work with the taxi services. Data's not a replacement for the taxis. We're not open 24 hours. We're not open 7 days a week. If you think about the airport and some of those pieces, we need a 24-hour service on the road. It wasn't designed as a replacement for the taxis either. The taxis do a lot of trips to the casino. They do a lot of trips to even Manistee and Marquette and stuff like that too. So they're doing a lot of other things. So we don't see them as a competitor of ours, as rather work with them. Our facility hosts Indian Trails buses that come in. Some of you might be aware they replaced Greyhound a few years back, and there's 4 of those bus routes that come into Escanaba every night at 4 a.m. Without having a taxi cab service on at that time, it would be really tough for those people because they'd have to sit around there and wait either for the next day or wait till the weekend was up to get a ride. So that the taxis are still a strong part in the community.
What are the hours that you usually run them?
Data's open from 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. There's a huge request for Saturdays and for evening service. Sunday church service, there's always requests for those. Those really aren't an option, in today's age, not without probably picking up some other townships or doing something a little, looking outside the box. To expand them would be difficult unless we took service off during the day.
So basically, what would the price be if you didn't get the millage?
What we have in Wells Township is they pay 3 times the price.
Which is what?
For over here, they're looking at $6 to $8 a ride, which is still pretty reasonable. But while I say that, that's a viable alternative. But the downside is when I lay that many people off or lay that many and take that many buses off the road, the reality is it's not just the price. It's we're probably going to coming through here at 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. and maybe a couple in the middle of the day, but it's when we're coming through for something else then. So it really has to coordinate with what's going on. It's not going to work on a demand response system like we have now, where they call up to get to the a noon medical appointment and we get them on at 11:30 and get them there. The interesting part with a fixed route system like this bigger cities have, say Lansing or Marquette, people walk to the corner to get on the bus, right? So the idea would be, why don't you just run less buses, have them run all over, have people walk to the corner? Well, the downside to that is we're required by law then to run a second bus then for anybody that is disabled or meets the ADA guidelines. We're required to then pick them up at their door. So now we have to run 2 systems side by side. One that picks up people by at their door that's disabled, and the other one that picks up anybody that can walk to it. And in the wintertime around here, if you can imagine having that many bus shelters, shoveling that many bus shelters, and having people walk to them, I think would probably be, if nothing else, a traffic hazard.
I took the Indian Trails bus to Milwaukee, my first bus ride in ages. I was amazed the number of people there.
Absolutely.
The number of customers, the lobby was packed.
Yeah.
And these buses came rolling in, and one was going to Marquette, and one was going to Ironwood, and one was making a turnaround going to Milwaukee, and it was amazing.
We run that, we're the ticket agent for them, so we staff that office. That's our personnel as well. What does that bring in for us? It brings us in about $30,000 a year to offset some of our operating costs. And that building was built with Indian Trails or Greyhound at the time in mind as an intercity model.
Yeah.
So, you know, it works pretty well. But I'll tell you, when you get there in the morning and one of the buses broke down and there's 30 people laying in the floor in there, it's not a good situation on the other hand. But that's a needed service in the area, and frankly, that's our only connection with the outlying areas other than by plane is by Indian Trails. And so that's how people get to Manistee if they need to, or that's how people get to, you know, Houghton and those type of places.
Right.
So we do see quite a bit of people using that.
I paid $57 to go to Milwaukee. I thought that was extremely reasonable.
Absolutely. So, you know, at any time, if anybody has comments, concerns, questions, you know, or if somebody just wants to ride a bus at some point in time, you know, even ride the Gladstone shuttle, you know, back and forth to see, you know, who's riding and talk to some of those people, you know, we always welcome that. One of the interesting things you'll find is, you know, we average over 5 rides an hour. So if you take our bus that's the slowest and our bus that's the busiest, and you average them out, we average 5 rides an hour. I can say this much, that's not an empty bus. And that gets very busy at times, and so that's fairly interesting. You know, that's not you can't do that with one person on the bus at a time. I can say that if somebody wants to try it around the area, I would encourage them to try it. So, but anytime if you have any questions, comments, feel free to contact me. And if you ever want to tour the system or, like I say, just ride a bus around, be happy to work that out for you. Thank you, and I appreciate letting me give you kind of a little bit of report on data. If nothing else, I'm surprised that it's not a requirement. So,
All right, thank you, John. All right, next up is authorize the city clerk to appoint election inspectors for the November 3rd election.
I need election inspectors for November 3rd for both precincts 1, 2, and a receiving board. Attached is the list of election workers that are available this year or for this election for me. And I'll be making precinct assignments as I go and the availability of the workers.
I would move to authorize the city clerk.
Support.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Nemechek and support by Commissioner View. Any more discussion?
Just, I see some city workers on here. That doesn't make a difference, eh? I mean, they work for us and then they work for this separately.
The only one is Renee Barron.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to mention the name.
Yeah, she's our community development. She's my backup, my assistant. In case I go down, you've got somebody
Okay,
still to conduct the election. So
just wanted to know.
she's trained with the Bureau of Elections, you know, certified. Yeah, just in case.
In case you go down.
Well, I'm not planning
what,
to. I'm like the machines that go down, but if I'm sick that day or something happens,
okay.
you've got to have somebody. So I'm not planning to go down.
Oh, good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we have a motion and support, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the amendment to the cellular phone plan policy.
From time to time, we have to review our policies, right? And if you can imagine, since 2010, when we first adopted the cellular phone policy, we've amended it once in 2011. Technology continues to change, like it or not. So we have reviewed this recently, brought it to my department staff, and all the proposed changes are in red on your packet tonight. the black was pretty much the original plan, or the revised plan since 2011.
I would like to move that we send this to a committee of the whole.
Support.
Okay. Who's the committee of the whole?
Us
Okay.
and you.
Oh, okay.
I got out of this nice book that Kim gave me.
Oh, all right, cool. So do
All
we
right,
need a
let's,
date when it comes back then, or?
what, do we have to make a motion and support, I mean,
We
To
did.
create.
did. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
to refer it to committee, and then you, yes, if you put a date when you want to have the committee report back with
okay.
recommendations.
Just for discussion, I looked it up too. The whole group is, which is, the commission is considered to be the committee, which allows for greater informality and sometimes a more conversational style of debate and talking, so that we're not sitting here going back and forth of different things we disagree. We can do it out in the open, but yet without the parliamentary procedure completely.
Right, that's absolutely correct. You wouldn't make a decision at the
Nope,
subcommittee
nope.
level, but you'd basically get to hash it out in a
then-
somewhat informal
Then
setting,
we'll
not
bring
as.
it back here, right?
Exactly,
Yep.
you'd bring it back for formal action, so.
Is that gonna require a separate meeting at a separate time?
Yes, you would have to state that, because I would still need to post it. It's basically like a work session.
Mhm.
Some people are more commonly referred to it as that, so
Yeah, but
I
they-
definitely
Did
needed.
you-
I was thinking, like,
Did,
the-
I was gonna say, did you wanna do it before the next meeting?
I was thinking like, maybe like the second meeting in November. We do that in lieu of a commission meeting? Or have we done that too many times already?
What do you mean in lieu of?
Well, we can have a learning session instead of a regular commission meeting, can't we? Or do we have to do it on another?
You
on
you have to have like 2 meetings, so you could cancel your second meeting, but without knowing kind of the business that may be required to do that. You know, you could do that. That would be a separate action, you know, to cancel that. We will be having, you know, the second meeting in November. Potentially you will have, well, for sure you'll have at least one new commissioner,
Mhm.
two if Commissioner Gay doesn't seek, you know, doesn't win re-election. That will be their first work session.
What about, can I make a comment that we could probably just come a little early for that meeting? And,
I think we're gonna need a little more time than coming a little bit early.
well, hour and a half early?
Well, I mean, do you think at like 5 instead then?
Yeah, it's 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm open to anything. I mean,
Either that or the off Monday kind of seems to work too for,
yeah, we could do
our
that.
audit meeting was the meeting in the middle, the Monday
Yeah.
in the middle of the meetings.
So did you wanna do it like the meeting, like in between the first and the second meeting?
The
then?
9th is the
Sure.
first one. What's the next
I was
Monday?
gonna say, I'm pulling up my
On the
calendar.
As long as it doesn't fall on the 15th or something. No, it's on a Sunday this year.
Oh, it's the 16th.
Is that Monday, yeah.
That
Okay,
might still
sorry.
be
After.
bad. The 16th.
Are you contemplating?
Okay, so the 9th is the regular
drastic
meeting, it would be the
changes?
16th would be that
Yes.
in-between Monday,
Something like
and then the
Mike was talking about.
23rd is
Mhm.
a regular commission meeting. At the
Well,
ni-
it's the 16th. I think maybe it'd be better if we do it
Yeah,
it'd be at 5 o'clock on the 23rd one.
That'd be fine, yeah, the 16th is a bad,
Yeah, that's a bad one.
yeah, that's,
You want to throw
That's
that
too
in there
close to
on
the-
that date?
sure.
So if I heard that right, that was November 23rd at 5 o'clock for the subcommittee work session.
23rd. Yep.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner, it was Thompson, and support by Commissioner View for a commission of the whole,
Subcommittee of the whole.
subcommittee of the whole for November 23rd at 5 o'clock. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up is the amendment to the purchasing and bidding policy.
Just similar thought here. Staff and I reviewed the purchasing and bidding policy. This one's a little bit newer, was just created in 2013. We've never revised it, so this would be the first revision. And our thoughts on this, just to clarify, under bid policy, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of parts to that. We just labeled them A, B, C, D, E. And then included, if we receive money from a foundation or a donor, that if they had their own policy, we could follow their policy. And then, and at the bottom, in emergency situations, the city manager would have the authority to purchase something in an emergency situation.
What do you mean by unlimited powers of purchase?
What comes to my mind recently was, you know, Escanaba's power plant situation there. If they needed to buy parts immediately,
You already have that in the ordinances though, don't you?
Um,
Because I did find that in an ordinance.
If I could clarify that bottom part underneath it, you see ordinance number 590. When we amended that ordinance 590 to redo the, you know, to have a policy instead of it all in the ordinance, because it was in the ordinance and it was a dollar figure of $500. The thing you want to get away from in an ordinance necessarily is to have an exact dollar amount. So we did take that out, basically saying there will be a policy which is adopted by the commission, and that can be changed through action of the commission. But the ordinance, this language in red here at the bottom, that is in that ordinance. So basically, we were adding it to the bottom of the policy so you could know what happens in an emergency. The manager has that authority. So that in red there, you're not going to be able to change that unless you change that ordinance. So,
Okay.
which you can do, but that's a separate process than just the policy. So, did that make sense?
I'd like to move that we send this one to a committee of the whole too, for further discussion.
I'll support that.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Thompson, and a support by Commissioner View to send this to a commission of the whole. When were you thinking?
I hadn't put any thought into when we were gonna do it. I mean, we could do it, you know, in conjunction with the next meeting, if we wanted to do it ahead of time. That, I don't think this would take very long. I think it's pretty close to what I would like to see. There's a few things I'd like to suggest, but I'd rather do it in a open discussion format, not in this format.
One thing, if I could comment about the November 9th then meeting is what you were thinking?
Was that the November 9th one?
Yeah, it's the first meeting after the election, which would be the reorganization meeting, which by charter, the reorganization meeting has to occur at 7:30. So we actually have to start a half hour later, reorganize to get the new commissioners sworn in, take care of mayor pro tem. So we'd be starting a little bit later.
Let's just go to
Or
December?
You could, what
Yeah.
about the next meeting in October?
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Is there
Oh, yeah,
another-
October
We do
20.
have one more.
Oh, yes, at the end of this month,
Or we-
yes.
October 26th.
Or we could push it to December. I mean, it's not like it's imperative, it has to be done immediately. I mean, we have a policy.
Yeah.
You know, we can,
Which one you want?
why don't we just wait till December? That'll give us everybody plenty of time to contemplate what they might wanna.
Like what, the first meeting?
Sure.
First meeting's the 14th, and the second meeting is the 28th, so.
Let's go December 14th.
Okay, and did you want to
Okay.
do it again before
5
the
o'clock?
meeting?
I'm fine with that, yeah.
And you think like 6 o'clock would be okay instead of?
I think so. I don't think that would take us long to,
December
Have a good
14th,
discussion about
6
Yes,
o'clock.
6 o'clock.
we can come to something we can all agree on.
Okay. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is the resolution 2015-12 Delta County Hazard Mitigation Plan.
This one was a little strange. The QPAD was the leader in amending this Delta County Hazard Mitigation Plan. They started over 3 years ago, as the letter here from Peter Van Steen states. And in 2014, they sent me a letter, and I passed it by my staff. changes that they were proposing. We added our comments. The county has approved the update already. But if you see a little bit further down, it says since your community was part of the planning process, FEMA is requesting your adoption of the plan. And what this really does for the city, by adopting this plan, we would be eligible to apply for funding through the full complement of the hazard mitigation assistance grants. I don't believe we've ever done that, but I guess another tool in our toolbox wouldn't be a bad thing. So we are requesting that you approve the attached resolution.
So this makes us part of the whole Delta County
Right.
emergency preparedness thing?
No, this
No?
is the hazardous mitigation plan.
Oh, just
This is
that.
not the
Okay,
county emergency plan.
like chemical spills and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this doesn't cost us nothing, right?
No, no.
It's just a protocol to follow? Is that basically what this is for?
Well, I think it tells FEMA that we're supportive of their plan.
And this is the plan that we have right here, 21512?
No, what got changed in chapter 5, that's, I don't know, 15 pages.
Oh,
They're
we don't
asking
even
you
have the
support
plan
this
then.
resolution here.
Well, we don't have the plan then.
No, the full plan is like this thick.
Oh,
I would move that we approve resolution 2015-12 Delta County Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Support.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Thompson and support by Commissioner Nemechek. Any more discussion?
did anyone read the plan to know what we're getting into?
We've read chapter 5, that's what was changed. And
That's
my-
the only one we gotta worry about? We have no
That's,
worries on that?
right, that's what addresses the hazardous mitigation.
All right. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is reappointment to Compensation Committee. Ms. Frederickson?
The Compensation Commission is required to meet at least once every 2 years, so it's not a real active board or commission to be on. But she was on it. They did meet in 2015. They hadn't met for several years. Couple of things they do set the pay for election workers. They set the rates for like mileage reimbursement. They usually adopt like the IRS rate. They also do set the city commission's pay. That's one of their duties that they do. So it's not a board that necessarily has a lot of action come to it on a regular basis, but Joetta was appointed. I had trouble. We didn't have a quorum for the longest time. I didn't have anybody on there left anymore. So just getting enough people to be able to serve on it. So Joetta's been very good and willing to serve again. It's for a 5-year term, which seems like a long time, but when you only meet every other year. So.
I move that we reappoint Joetta Frederickson to the Compensation Commission.
Support.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Nemechek and support by Commissioner View. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is the joint meeting with the school board.
Just brought this to the table tonight for some discussion. In the past, the city commission has met with the Gladstone School Board. Just kind of talked about, general things happening with the city, general things happening with the school. We haven't met with them in quite a few years. A couple new commissioners here. We'll have another new one in November. Would you like me to start talking with Dr. Culbertus and looking at some dates that fit both of our schedules, or is this?
We're going to talk about that garage?
That would be nice.
It would be,
That would
wouldn't
be
it?
nice, yeah.
I don't think it would hurt any. I mean, certainly there might be something gleaned from it all.
Sure,
I think you should.
okay.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think so.
Doesn't hurt to see where we can collaborate and
Sure.
help out the citizens, both public entities like that. I don't have a problem with it.
so we're maybe December, January, when do you think?
Probably after the holidays.
Yeah, I'd say
After the holidays?
Because we got a lot of
January.
stuff on our plate right now that
Sure,
are extra.
okay. I'll call Dr. Culbertus and see, you know, what, because he's got Gladstone School Board meetings and Rapid River School Board meetings. I think they're on Mondays, which is 4-hour meetings, so maybe we can pick one that's on the same date.
All right, next up is the street light bids. Mark?
Good evening. This is our this project is a continuation of a purchase we did last year to transform some of our older street fixtures we have, the different older technology, to a more LED technology, up-to-date technology. So we have about 400 streetlights total, just rough figures about what we have. Last year we did about 120. When we submitted, put this out to bid, we received 4 bids from manufacturers that met the specifications that we put forth. And the Stewart Irby Corporation, they're out of Minnesota, was the low bid, and they would provide 142 fixtures for the amount of money we have budgeted. So anyways, this is the second phase. Our goal is to transform them all to LED technology over, a little bit each year. So it's reinvesting in our infrastructure, basically, to keep it up to snuff and keep it going forward. So there'll be other things too, but this is just one thing that I think is a smart thing to do. It's interesting, the LED technology, compared to the technology we're replacing, it goes from like 140, 150 watts down to 70. So it's like it cuts it right in half. So the amount of energy use is cut right in half. So anyways, I think it's a good thing to do, but that's a little bit about the project. Yeah.
What's the life expectancy of these fixtures?
Well, we have a 10-year warranty on them. I don't know. I think some of these old ones have lasted a long time. I think it varies a little bit depending on weather and other conditions.
So warranty on the whole fixture, everything?
The fixture's a 10-year warranty is what we
Power
asked for.
supply and LEDs?
What's that?
Power supply and LEDs, the whole thing?
The fixture itself, yep.
Okay.
The whole thing, yep.
Yeah, we bought from Stewart Irby before.
Not since I was here. The fixture that what they quoted was, hold on here, American Electric.
Was it the same fixture other people quoted?
No.
No?
I put it out there there's so many different fixtures
I'm
out
sure.
there. I mean, it's like anything you buy.
Yeah.
There's different supply. And I like to offer competition to people, and, if you're selling.
But it met spec.
It met the specs,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
So I rely on my staff I gave it to them and said, you guys
Sure.
tell me if these
Yeah.
work, and then they came back and said, these will work for us. And,
How long would it take to get them?
4 to 5 weeks.
4 to 5 weeks? Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to get them here before it gets too cold, and then what happens is, like in the spring, if a light goes out of fixture,
Yeah.
we'll replace it, have one on, and then we can just get them switched out, so yeah.
How long did it take them usually to exchange one of them?
Oh, I mean, it's quick. I mean, you gotta have the bucket truck, bring it
Yeah.
out there. It's just a matter of just unhooking. It's not that hard. I'd say half hour total.
Okay.
I mean, at the most.
So the electric workers would be the ones doing it?
Yeah, we've all the other 120 are already installed. They were long time ago installed. So You know, we could put them all in, we could do the whole 400 if you wanted. I mean, we could get that all done, but, you know, we're just doing a little bit each year, so.
We're going by the amount that was in the budget.
Yeah, that's.
Budgeted amount.
It's amount, just budgeted,
Right.
just to reinvest into the.
I move we purchase the 142 lights from Stuart Irby.
Support.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Nemechek and a support by Commissioner Thompson. Any more discussion?
What's the cost of, the length or the cost of return on replacing these lights, where we gain the benefit of buying them?
The gain of benefit.
Well, I mean, to replace them now, the savings we're gonna have, how many years or how long will it take before they pay for themselves? Do you have that figure?
I do not have that figure total. I mean, we have bulbs go out all the time, though. I mean, they're going out, you know, quite a bit. I mean, of those 120, at least 40 of them were they just wore out. So, I mean,
Well, no,
I
I'm
don't-
just trying to
I
figure
don't
out that
know.
you're buying something
Yeah, I don't
to
know.
better the community, but I wanted to know the rate of return for purchasing this.
Yeah,
the-
I don't
to see the
know.
feasibility, because some things like energy optimization, I changed something in my house.
Mm-hmm,
It'll take me 99 years to gain the benefit of replacing that item.
mm-hmm.
I wanted to see if this was somewhere in that realm.
Well, the LED lights are, you know, technology-wise, are way beyond anything else that's out there right now.
No,
So,
I
mean,
realize that.
It's
Well, he said he used half the power, so
half the power.
Yeah.
We should.
depending on how much half the power is, we know
Well,
what the
that's-
light costs. So,
And we'll have to change them less because they do last longer. I mean, the technology is that good that the different other lights, they have other mechanisms to power them up. These are just the LED. It's a different technology, less moving parts. It's a lot better in the long
the old
run.
ones were sodium vapor, weren't they?
There's yup, and then there's metal halide probably
Oh,
out
okay.
there a little bit. So yeah, there's different technology,
Yeah.
so.
They go
And-
through
and this-
ballast, gotta change ballast periodically.
Right, the ballast, and these get all that stuff gone. You know,
Mhm.
that's the ballast and all the other things involved with the lights. So, yeah.
Well, my main goal here was to try to find out the savings, because in the future, in the next 2 years, we're gonna be pretty flat on our revenue in gaining stuff to pay some of our deficits that we have, and I wanna get a grip on heading in that direction.
Mhm.
Because I just sat through the audit, and we have not headed in a positive direction in the last 3 years. And I need to know where to start, and I would like to start with every little item that we have here, because I think every little thing will make a difference down the road. And if we don't start somewhere, where are we gonna end up?
Well, that's not my job.
No, no, but
My job is to make sure the utility lasts and is up to date.
Well, you said this is phase 2, so we're gonna have how many phases?
There's 400 lights, and this would be about 260,
So we're halfway.
about a little more than halfway, yeah. Yep.
I mean, I'd like to see at least that cut into 8 phases and throw half of this budget towards our deficit reduction area. Just in my opinion, I'm just trying to figure out, you know, why we're spending all this money and we don't really know the savings are. And I know there's savings, but we should know what the saving, I should know what it is in order to vote properly on this. Because then I can say, well, them savings that we have at this point, I would like to see earmarked for something else. And that's just my own personal opinion on reading through the eyes of the people that have talked to me. That's all I'm looking at.
Do we get rebates for installing these?
Yes, we'll probably end up getting from Efficiency United. I think the last round, we ended up getting like $5,000. I'm going by memory, which is scary sometimes, but I think we do get some rebates back.
Yep.
So, yeah, so.
All right,
So
any
that's
more
that.
discussion? All right, all those in favor of the streetlights from Stewart? Say aye.
I,
Aye. Oppose?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Oh, yeah, roll call, that's right.
Commissioner View,
No.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Nemechek,
yes.
Commissioner Gay is absent and excused, Mayor Bostwick.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is city manager's report.
Had quite a few things tonight. First, I want to give my condolences to the family and friends of lifelong resident Naomi Halt, passed away this past Saturday. She was a member of our planning commission for many, many, many years, was very instrumental in subcommittees and creating ordinances and amending them, and she will definitely be missed here in City Hall and on our planning commission, so my condolences to her family and friends. We have new artwork here at City Hall. Last week we went back to the schools now, so if anybody's in the public listening and they want to stop by and see the new artwork, it's from the Cameron and Jones Elementary students. That'll be up for a couple months. Thank the art teachers for organizing that for me. On your table tonight, you had a little flyer regarding Fall Fest. This was our second annual, very, very successful. October 3rd. It was a little cold, but it didn't keep the people away. We gave out over 300 pumpkins to kids, and they enjoyed pony rides and face painting and games and food. Very successful addition to our schedule of events here in Gladstone, I think. And I wanted to compliment Amber Hansen, our special event coordinator, for coordinating that for us. Also want to do a little kudos to my electric department staff. I received an email from an area business that was, they were in the middle of a project, and according to their words here, they ran into some significant road bumps and called our electric crew, and our crew went over there and helped them. And his comment here, everyone went above and beyond and found ways to overcome the road bumps with the fast response time. Had we not helped this business as of last week, they probably still wouldn't have power. So it's things like that that really, all my staff and all my departments, that's what they do every day. If somebody is in need of help, that's what we're here for. So thank the staff, and this business is back up and running. Good, positive thing. Another comment, I don't know if I'm stealing your thunder, Joe, or not, but
Go ahead.
our hovercraft recently was called out on the lake here and in the harbor. A catamaran, was it?
Yep.
Tipped over and was in need of help, and they called out our hovercraft and went out there and got the boat back up, and people got to safety. And the water was pretty cold. They were, probably dressed in wetsuits, but
They looked pretty cold. No, they didn't have wetsuits on.
the boaters didn't?
No,
Wow.
and life jackets, that was it.
So again, thanks to the hovercraft and the staff that brought that out and assisted them people. That, again, wonderful job. I attended the UP Energy Summit with Mark Palega, my electric director there, and room full of people. Oh my gosh, legislators and politicians, you name it, they were all there. I guess what I concluded is they still don't have an answer for what the solution is for the UP Power with the Presque Isle Power Plant online to be shut down in the near future. It's in the legislators' hands right now, and they are working with all the agencies. WPPI is at the table, MMEA, you name it, they're all putting their heads together and trying to find a solution for the UP Power situation. So pretty informative. On October 6th, we had, I remember mentioning this at the commission meeting because everybody was invited. The mayor was there with us. Engaging the public was put on by MEDC October 6th in Escanaba. And very happy to say that we had 7 attendees from Gladstone. Some of our board members and staff attended that. And later that night, we kind of went right into our redevelopment ready community kickoff meeting put on by MEDC as well. For that meeting, we had 17 people in attendance. I was just thrilled with that. Really good discussion there, and actually some discussion to reform the community development committee that met a couple years ago. We haven't met in a couple years, but it's a committee that was started prior to doing the 10th Street project many years ago, and it's the community-driven projects is what comes to the table. And that's what we feel, what the community wants, that's what we need to be working towards. So we had some volunteers come forward and kind of volunteer to get that going again, and very, very appreciative of that, those volunteers. You should have all gotten an invitation for tomorrow night. Ann Miller has been very instrumental in displaying some of Gladstone's history down in the DDA building. And tomorrow night from 6 to 7:30, she will be there and go through, it's called Windows to the Past. She's gonna kind of narrate each window and not bring us up to date, obviously, but just really, we have a lot of history here in Gladstone, and a lot of people don't realize that. And every time I meet with her and go through a new window, there's many things that I pick up. So tomorrow night, 6 to 7:30, if you're available, down at the DDA building. Lastly, I have, I put another flyer on your, in front of you tonight. This Thursday night and Friday morning, Leah will be with us, Land Information Access Association. This is I believe it was in April of 2015. We had just started the fiscal year, and we were able to secure a grant with this organization. They wanted 10 communities, waterfront communities, that were focusing on trails in their community. And, you know, we're kind of focusing right now on the non-motorized trail to P.5 road, but in several of our meetings, we've mentioned there's other loops that we would like to complete in Gladstone, you know, maybe head towards Rapid River, head up towards the bluff to the Days River Trail. So they have agreed to come. We were chosen as one of 10 communities, and they're gonna come up this Thursday and Friday morning and kind of help us with this trail town accessibility. So if you're available, details are here. This is the press release that went out to the media today. So, sure. Oh, sure. Do you want to go to the podium or? Yeah.
Are you done?
I am done. I'm going to give 2 minutes to Mark Pelleggi. He has another announcement, public-wide to make.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't had a whole lot of time to prepare for this, but our compost site's been, you know, quite the ride this summer, actually, and it's, you know, ramping up here for the leaves. And you know, I just wanted to, I was thinking about this whole situation and what's going on here. And, you know, one thing I think we need to recognize are people who really give to our community. I think that's very important. And I also think it's important that we recognize where we live here and how beautiful and how special this environment is here. So I thought it'd be really nice to create some sort of a yearly thing, and I just came up with the idea, just call it Gladstone's Giving Back. And what that would be is it's a day where we can celebrate environment and volunteerism within our community. So this Saturday, regardless if you're a U of M or MSU fan or neither of those, we're going to have, I'm going to bring a tent up there. We're going to plant a tree in order of we have to do that for our Arbor Day anyways. We have to have a celebration once a year, planting a tree and doing those sort of things. So, but I'd like to plant a tree with these volunteers that have given a lot of their time. About a half dozen people have given, you know, I don't know how many hours, but it's significant. It's a lot of time. So that's this Saturday from 10 to 12 at the compost site. So if you're bringing some leaves up there, whatever, stop in, grab some apple cider or donut, whatever, and say hi. So just wanted to announce that. All right?
Good.
Haven't had time to really get it out there, but that's what I was wanting to do. So thank you.
Thanks, Mark. All right, done?
Yeah.
All right, next is city commission and committee reports, board and commission reports. Anyone? All right, public comment.
I do.
All right, if you want to just step to the podium.
Dwayne Nelson, 582 North 9th Street in Gladstone. And I had a couple of comments. One would be directed towards John in regards to the data buses. And no doubt about it, I'm all for having the public transportation. It's very necessary all the way around. When you're looking for the millage being supported by only a small number of communities in the outlying areas, I know he did mention maybe in a couple of years to go and talk to these other communities. I do think that it would be a benefit for your goal as data bus to be able to take these, a group I would call it, and have them just go out to some of these areas and look for, you know, some sort of gathering of donation, whatever you would call it. I think that it would go a long way as showing an effort to gain that financial support other than from the two major cities. And that was all I had on that. The other thing I had a comment on would be the cell phone policy. Obviously, communication's important for all workers in any company, organization, city, and I think that it is important for city workers to all be able to have the communication of phones. As far as all being smartphones, a lot of people have to watch the weather and things like this. Before we had the technology to have it all, everything right on you, watch TV at the same time. I think that everybody doesn't have to have that sort of technology with them, with their phones. When there's not room for the expense, nothing wrong with calling somebody who is appointed to carry the smartphone to keep an eye on the weather or be able to look something up online and get their answers that way. So that's all I had on that.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else? All right, next is the city commissioner comments. Commissioner Nemechek.
I would like to propose that on October 29th, Nehi Halt would have been 93 years old. We have a precedent for naming a day, honoring a day, Nehi Halt Day in Gladstone. Would require a proclamation of some sort that we could come up with for our next meeting.
I would be happy to do that.
Thank you. Nehi Halt and Dr. Halt, when you talk about history in Gladstone, she could talk about history way back. She and her husband, Otto, delivered over 3,000 babies in this town. That's over half the town. Doc Halt performed many surgeries in the office, tonsils, whatever. Nehi did a lot of stitching up, a lot of house calls. Anyway, I think it would be a great honor. She was on our planning commission. She was one of the legends for the Stormy Cromer Award. And when they listed all the places, I read the article was in the Daily Press, I think in 2011. I looked it up on the internet. It was amazing. She helped start the YMCA. She was working with the Rotary. I mean, all the different committees and all the different things that she did in her lifetime is absolutely amazing. So I would propose that we do that.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Nemechek. Commissioner
I'd like
Thompson.
to encourage people to come out Wednesday night. There's a voters forum, and that'll be right here. Come out and see the candidates for the seats that are open on the city commission and learn something about them. That's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Commissioner View.
Couple of items. First, I did attend the second annual Fall Fest. I went down there and looked at all the kids, parents, and many grandparents from all over the area. What an opportunity for the businesses in the area to capitalize on all these people coming in. Then I walked down Main Street and hardly anything open. But that didn't discourage me because I think this can be a selling point for people coming into Gladstone because it's the second year, there's a third, fourth, hopefully a 100th year. And that's something all the businesses that come in here can look at and build upon to capture these people on that day. And after the event the next day, I met many of them, and they were so happy, and they weren't the parents, they were people, like I said, from Bark River, Ford River, Powers, all coming in with their grandkids. So it was a good event, and I was glad to attend, and I just want to thank Amber for continuing that. I think she did a good job for the businesses of the community on all the events she runs. And if they don't take an opportunity of what she's doing for them, they're losing out. I just wanted to make that comment. The other thing is, we have another local Gladstone business that is planning business basic, planning financials, and the no-nos. And it's free, and it's through the DDA with Delta Business Solutions, Ron Massio. It's Tuesday, October 20th. 2015, and it's at the Gladstone DDA building. And this is one of many events that they're going to have throughout the year to help people understand some of the pitfalls of businesses and how to get around them. So I think it's a pretty good program for our community, and just shows the interest our businesses have in making our community so nice. And the last thing, I get these commission packages, and I don't know if it's feasible. I would like to have like a 5 business day notice, instead of just getting them on a Saturday or a Friday, and then trying to find some information on, because there isn't a lot of information in them, and I'd like to do a little research so my understanding is much better of it. And I don't know if that's feasible, or how do you go about?
Those are your rules of procedure that you set when that is. Packets, the deadline currently right now is end of business day Wednesday for staff. It's a little bit earlier if the public wants something on there. They prepare their staff reports, they get them in, and then I prepare the packets on Thursday so that you have them. They're emailed to you, at the same time that I put them in your box, the paper copy as well. So that's right in your rules of procedure. If you want them earlier than that, we would have to revamp the rules of procedure and do those deadlines.
If you want, you can have it at the next meeting, talk about.
Okay, I just like to throw it on there to discuss, because I think some of these packets are pretty thick, 88 pages, and I take it to heart to try to go through everything, and then when I have a question on something, you don't want to bother people on the weekends, or sometimes you can't, or you can't check into things. So it ain't that I want to change anything, it's just that I need to be informed enough and be able to check enough on what I'm voting on, if that's something that I feel. Other than that, I don't have anything. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't have anything. So, city clerk comments.
I just had, the candidate forum that will be hosted by the League of Women's Voters. They are doing that again for this election, as Commissioner Thompson said, Wednesday, 7 o'clock here at City Hall. It is being recorded by charter. I don't have the rebroadcast dates from the League of Women Voters yet, so as soon as they do, of course, we try and put it on our website with that as well, with the rebroadcast, but there'll be actual rebroadcast dates on charter. I'm not sure the channel yet, so getting that information, but that is hosted by the League of Women Voters this Wednesday, 7 o'clock. And then also, again, for the election, absentee ballots are available in my office still. If you need one or are unable to get to the polls on November 3rd, you can get an absentee ballot, or if you're going to be out of town, different reasons you can get one. You just stop down and see me and bring a picture ID with you, and we'll get you a ballot. So that's all.
All right, thank you. Meeting adjourned.